Hi guys, Luke here of SimBoxx in association with Clint Patrick's, and the return of British boxing is upon us. We're in the middle of fight week now, the return of Matchroom boxing this weekend, and I'm delighted to be joined by a man in the thick of it. He's boxer, manager, trainer, pundit, Mr. Dave Coldwell. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thanks, very good, thanks. So I appreciate you taking the time out, as obviously you're in the middle of the bubble now. I'm guessing you're in that little...
I've got plenty of time right now. I'm stuck in quarantine for the day, so yeah, it's a good time now, mate.
So are we used to that at the minute? I know you've been a part of these bubbles a couple of times now. Do you kind of get used to it? It's just kind of the routine?
Yeah, it's my seventh time, I think it is. Seventh time in a bubble. So yeah, I'm quite used to the routine and everything. It's never nice when you're just cooped up in a hotel room, but do you know what? It's nice because obviously life right now is very, very minimalistic and we're restricted to what we can do. So it's almost like without sounding bad, it's almost like a lad's little trip away. Do you know what I mean? So, we get to have a good laugh once we're out in a bubble and interacting with everybody. So it's all right.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear. So let's get right in the thick of it, and especially today. You know, I had my notes ready for our chat today, but there's been a couple of things today already that I wanted to get your thoughts on. Firstly, Amy Timlin, who you manage, she's unfortunately pulled out of the rematch with Carly Skelly for the Commonwealth Bantamweight title, Super Bantamweight title, that was due to take place on Feb 20th. Can I just get an update on the situation there and why that's come about, please?
Yeah, she's it's a possibility of a small hernia. She got pains in her abdominals and in her stomach. Very, very painful. Had a few days off as you do, and then returned back to training thinking everything will be all right. Did a couple of runs, and then she said she still can feel it, still in a lot of pain. So it's a good fight. It's a big fight. I want both fighters to be in there at 100%. And so it makes perfect sense. You know, you're not right. There's obviously something wrong there, so we need to pull her out. It was never going to be ideal going back in after having a few days off. It never is, but she was willing to do that. But once she's been for a couple of runs and she's still felt the pain, it's not worth it. You know, boxing's a dangerous sport at the best of times, and especially when it's two evenly matched fighters, which we saw such a great fight in the first fight, then you can't take those risks. And she's 20 years old. There's no rush with it. Spoke with Eddie. It's going to be rescheduled, so it's not like it's gone. It's just going to reschedule. That's all.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I mean, it was a great fight first time around, and looking at the immediate reaction online to the news that it's going to be postponed, there's a lot of desire there to see the rematch, given the first fight was very close to contested. We're in the middle.
It's a good fight.
Yep, yeah. So we look forward to the announcement of when it is possible to happen again. Obviously, we wish Amy Timlin the very best with the recovery from the hernia. Moving on. Hopey Price, he fights this weekend. What's the situation regarding his opponent currently? There was word that I have seen on social media, take from that what you will, that Zahid Hussein has pulled out of the fight. Can we get a little update on where we're at with Hopey Price and his opponent Saturday?
That has been such an headache this week. Unbelievable. We was excited for that fight. Hopey was very excited for that fight. Seen a couple of little interviews from Zahid, talking a good game. I was very intrigued with one interview where the first time I've ever heard him speak, where it said that I think it was with VIP who managed him. I think it was with their channel, where he said to Zahid, "Oh, you must have been excited at that opportunity, blah blah." And he said, "No, we turned it down first because they came on to us for a 4-rounder." I'm not being funny. Hopey Price, when he turned pro, I wanted him to go straight into 6 rounds. He had his two 4-rounders, then moved into 6 rounds. Why are we going to go into a 4-rounder? And he was, talking about, why would I give him a 4-rounder when he's just come out? We're not a 4-round fighter. So I was a bit confused as who's told him that was a 4-rounder, because I've actually got a text message where I've messaged Matchroom saying, if you can confirm Zahid Hussein, can we do it as an 8-rounder? So, this is Hopey's second 6-rounder. He's still going to fight on Saturday. It'll be a second 6-rounder. If Zahid Hussein wants to do it over 8 rounds for Hopey's next fight, not a problem. not a problem. So there was no doubts about a 4-rounder. Then he did another interview that came out after he pulled out with tonsillitis. So I don't know what the timescale that was. But yeah, he's got tonsillitis. He's not 100%. As long as he's 100% for if it happens again, then that's great. I'm very disappointed for Hopey because this was a fight that he was excited about, a real fight. He's not one of these kids that just wants to fight guys that are going to come and just, tuck up and do nothing. So obviously this was very, very late in the day. Literally before, when you're trying to get somebody, I had the same problem with the Johnny Phillips fight. You're going through the rankings, and you're asking people to take the fight at Hopey Price, and best as we notice, they're saying no. Kids with good records, 11-1, 10-2, things like that, and they're saying no, no, no. So when it gets to a couple of days' notice, that pool gets even smaller. And we offered it to a few people, including Mahmoud that fought Chris Burke.
Yep.
He was unbeaten. He was unbeaten until he fought Chris Burke. He's 11-1. Yep. He too late notice for him. A few people just couldn't make it for whatever, not training or whatever. Weight might be an issue as well. So we looked to abroad, nailed a wicked opponent. Absolutely brilliant. We was excited. A Mexican, a very good Mexican, one where people go, oh, fucking hell. Really excited. And then after we thought it was agreed, and got the call saying that he couldn't make the weight because he was going to get on a plane, but he couldn't make the weight, and so that was off. So we're left with an opponent that isn't ideal for what I wanted, but still for his fourth fight, it's a good fight. Kid's 11-11. Out in Mexico, that's a good record. And the most important thing is even in the fights it loses, he's still throwing punches. He's still throwing hands. Box at a good level as well. I want people that are throwing against Hopey. There's no point in putting him in against. He's getting great sparring. Jordan Gill in the house. Leon Woodstock has done rounds and rounds and rounds with for Leon's British title fight. All the way up for this camp. He sparred Kid Galahad, Lee Appleyard, who's a lot bigger than him. Who else we've been doing around? He's worked with Leigh Wood, been out to America, done a lot of good sparring out there when I took him out there. It's no good sparring all these people where you're going to see his development and you're seeing him learning things and adding things to his game and handling, having problems given him and then handling them, learning how to handle them, and then getting a guy in there that's not even going to try to win. Complete waste of a fight with somebody like that who's got the mentality for it as well. If he didn't have the mentality, then I wouldn't be putting him in or willing to put him in with, good fights. Don't get wrong. I'm not going to be saying, oh yeah, we'll fight Chris Burke now. We'll fight, all these top names. No, he's still learning, but I want him to learn in fights where guys have been in against good fighters. So they've got that experience of being in with good fighters. They may have lost against them good fighters, but during the fight, the course of the fight, they were always trying to win. They weren't just going into a shell. And they're the fighters that I want for Hopey, because that's where you're going to see the best of him. But that's how he's going to develop as well, because I think he's a phenomenal talent. And like I said, the mentality this kid's got is the best mentality I've ever come across with a kid that I've ever worked with. So couple those two things together, then you can bring him on at a better rate or a higher quality of fights, even though he's not as many fights. You can bring him on a little bit quicker in order for him to learn, so you get the best out of him, so he develops quicker. So then when he does take the step up in class, he's been prepared for it because he's been fighting guys that are trying to win. Whether or not he makes that an easy job or not, that's how it is. We expect Zaid Hussein to come and try and win the fight. We expect whoever he comes to come to try and win. This Mexican is fighting on Saturday. He's the same. He'll come to try and win the fight. That's all I can ask.
Absolutely. It's high praise indeed, Dave. With Hopey Price, do you believe he's a world champion in the making? Do you think he can go all the way in terms of his boxing career?
Yeah, I do. And I'm quite honest about my fighters. I won't say it unless I believe it. It's just that we all see loads of talented kids, loads. I've been in boxing 30 years now. I've seen a lot of talented kids, a lot of kids that you look at and think, oh, he's good, he's got potential, but what makes kids go to that extra level is the mindset and the mentality and what they've got up here and how that is controlled, how they live their life, they're surrounded. When there's so many boxes that are getting ticked around them, family, the backing, the promotion, the promotional aspect, the talent, the desire, I'm looking at how his strength's coming on as well. Everybody's surprised at how strong he is as well. I'm talking about physically. He's a tall kid for super bantamweight, but he's very, very strong. People get a big shock with that, and this is why in sparring, I'm putting him in sparring with these top fighters. It's not about winning every round and bossing it. Oh yeah, he handled him. No, I want to be in spars with Kid Galahad, where Kid Galahad's mauling him and shit like that. So he's having to deal with that, because I don't want him just to be a tall, rangy southpaw that while he can keep you at range, he wins the fight. Because when you step up a level, the guys know how to get past that tall, rangy southpaw, and then then you're in deep shit, unless you're prepared for that, unless you've experienced that, unless you've adapted to that. And that's what, at this stage, what I'm trying to do with him. And the kid's improving. He's very, very good, mate. He's really good. It ticks every single box. You need a little bit of luck as well.
Definitely exciting times. We look forward to Hopey Price boxing on Saturday. Also on the card, Dave, Leigh Wood. You manage Leigh. He's in a solid British title fight against undefeated Reece Mould. This is definitely catching the imagination of the boxing.
Great fight.
Yeah. For Leigh Wood, he's bouncing back from the disappointment of the loss in the Golden Contract, and he's coming up against Reece Mould, and it's kind of like an old-fashioned, old-school British title fight where there's Leigh Wood who's established at a level, and you've got Reece Mould that's stepping up and kind of trying to anticipate whether or not he belongs at British title level. I think it's a great fight on paper and one that I'm sure will deliver. But where's Leigh Wood at in terms of his mentality of bouncing back from that defeat to Jazza Dickens?
Brilliant. In the Jazza Dickens fight, he's fighting against a very good fighter. That was all. And style-wise, at that point, that was always the fight that I was worried about for Leigh in the tournament. And it was a great fight. He showed a lot of determination and heart to get through the early round, because was it first round or second round he got wobbled, he got hurt, and he came through it. Gave Jazza a really, really good fight. Since then, he's been working with Ben Davison, learning new things, learning how to box to get the best out of his abilities. This kid can really, really punch. People don't realize that. He came down to spar once, and I took him on the pads, and I said, because Jordan's always said, because Jordan's grown up with him in the Ingles gym, and he always said he can punch unbelievably hard. And I was like, yeah, all right, yeah. Because when he fights, he doesn't set himself to be able to punch like that. So even when he hurts people, he's not been delivering the punches properly. And then I took him on the pads, and I was like, fucking hell. It hurts. And then I was interested to, obviously, I let Ben train him for a little bit, and then I rang him up to see how things were going. And I knew what I was going to say. And he was on phone. He was like, fucking hell. He says, he punches, mate. He hits. He can't believe how hard it is. And that is what happens when you take Leigh Wood on pads. It's like, wow, where's that come from? But it's just that he's never been taught how to deliver it properly. So I'm excited to see the adaptations that Ben's made with Leigh to get that side of his game out. Don't get me wrong, in Reece Mould, that's a tough fight. It's a very, very good fight, because Reece comes at 100 mile an hour, full of that youthful exuberance. But I just think he's going to be shocked. He's going to be shocked, and watching the little bits of footage of Leigh in training. And he's always wanted that British title. That's his, that's a dream of his. He's always wanted to get the British title. So I'm dead chuffed that it's there for him, and he's just got to go out and take it now.
Yeah, we look forward to it. In the main event, Dave, Josh Warrington against Mauricio Lara. There's been a lot spoken about with this fight, and it's kind of slightly underwhelming maybe with the fact that Josh gave up his IBF title. What's your take on that whole situation? I know you're not involved with Josh Warrington at all, but you're in and around the fight week. But what do you take from that situation?
The thing is, I mean, I was a little bit when I saw that he'd given up his title, but I've seen in the past where you take a step back now for the 2 steps forward next. If they deliver the Kanzu fight or whatever, Gary Russell or whoever it might be, if they deliver a massive fight for him next, it doesn't matter. That's it is what it is. But then I saw that he didn't give the title up until the purse bid was won for the Galahad fight. And the purse bid was something like 50 grand. Well, you're not going to get no world champion like Josh Warrington defending his world title for 50 grand. Well, that's the purse bid, so it would have been less than 50 grand. So you're not going to get a world champion doing that, especially when he gets paid this, especially against somebody that he's just had a life and death with last time out, and it's one of those kind of fights. And whether you beat Kid Galahad or not, you're not going to look good against him. So marketability-wise, going on towards the bigger fights, if you were to beat Kid Galahad, but if he comes off looking like shit against him in a boring fight or a scrappy fight, then his value drops. So I get why they've given up the title, but now the pressure's on that they've got to deliver, for his next fight, because this fight against Lara, it is what it is. You've been out for 15 months. Come back. Other fighters have done it where they come back with a bit of a soft opponent. It's just one of those fights. Just get it done with and get it over with.
Definitely. I mean, Josh Warrington is very experienced, and he's 13-0, and he's of course got that huge support behind him with the Leeds faithful. Do you believe he's going to be shocked by boxing behind closed doors for the first time?
Yeah.
This is going to be his first time without that kind of support. I've been in the Leeds arena when the fans have been there screaming his name. And how do you feel?
I
know he's a consummate professional, but it's got to affect him at some point.
It's not a case of whether it affects him or not. He'll notice it. That's that when I've done fight camp and I've done Wembley here. Fight camp was a little bit different because you're outdoors and you could hear the drone and just little things. It was different. It was different. Wembley, I remember I come out and it was I think Amy was on that one. I think it was Amy, Timlin and Carlos Kelly. But anyway, Wembley first, when I was there, I looked at it, I was watching it, and its setup's amazing. It still looks like a big show. It looks like a big event, but it's more eerie because it is indoors. And I was just thinking to myself, that flipping out. I can't imagine such a big fight as in Chisora and Usyk fighting here. I think I was there the week before that one first as well. And then obviously I had Lerone box at Wembley, and again it's different, it's weird, but to go from where you've got 10,000-15,000 screaming football fans, screaming your name, singing songs, chucking beer at you, to then going to where it's like there's nobody, that is noticeable. That is noticeable. Whether or not it affects him or not, once the bell goes, I don't think so. I mean, my fighters, they've all said as soon as the bell went, it's the same as anything. It's the same as what you do in the gym. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing is, it is like sparring, but you've just got to make sure you don't lull into that comfort zone of sparring.
Definitely. Amongst the other announced cards from Matchroom, Dave, moving on from Saturday, there's been some really good fights announced with the likes of Florian Marcoux against Ryland Charlton. Of course, the huge Dillon Whyte, Alexander Povetkin rematch, David Avanesyan against Josh Kelly. Which of the fights announced already has caught your eye? Which ones are you excited to watch as a fan of boxing?
All of them, to be honest, but Josh Kelly and Avanesyan, because that's been going on for so long. There's a needle. This is the needle between the managers in Neil Marsh and Adam Booth. There's been a lot of talk back and forth. Well, to be honest, more from Avanesyan's side and Neil Marsh's side, to be fair. Josh Kelly's just been tucked away doing his business. But it is a really good fight. It's a really good fight. I just can't wait to see it. You know, I think it's a good clash of styles. Avanesyan's proven, you know, he's a proven fighter. Josh Kelly's still the prospect stage, and he's still, you know, is he as good as what we think he is? I think he's very, very good. You know, people going about, oh, lack of punch power, this, but he looks good. He's boxing. You know, he can box, and I just think I think he's locked himself away. I think he won't. I've seen before we had him sometimes, even in big fights. He's not bothered about pleasing the TV cameras and the fans, and it's just so like, you need to do this to win that fight. In order to beat that point, you just need to do this. Don't worry about anything else. Just this. And I think that Josh Kelly will go out there very, very disciplined, and just box, or at least just box until his Avanesyan starts fatiguing and maybe slowing down, and then you'll see Kelly start, you know, rattling off some combinations. But I've got a feeling he's going to box really well. Listen, don't get me wrong. Originally, I thought this is a real tough fight. But I think they'll just have the mindset of don't care. It's a big fight. It's just win the fight, and they'll just go for the win.
Definitely, it's an exciting fight. The other fight that I mentioned being Dillon Whyte, Alexander Povetkin, a fight that I know you was involved quite closely with in fight camps. It was an amazing knockout from Alexander Povetkin, and it derailed the Dillon Whyte WBC world title charge. How important do you see this rematch for Dillon Whyte in terms of his career and trying to get back up to world title contention?
It's massive, isn't it? It's massive. It's a chance to immediately put the wrong right, so to speak. So yeah, and it's never over until it's over. Derek Chisora's proof of that, you know, and along with a lot of fighters. So you can't say, oh, he loses this, he's finished. Not if he doesn't choose to be. If he was to lose this and he comes back and he beats another top 10 ranked fighter, or, you know, whoever, a big name fighter, then he's right back in mix again. So it doesn't matter. We like to think, oh, this is it. If he gets beat, he's done. What it is, it's a case of it really then tests your desire. Are you willing to take, you know, climb that ladder again? You know, you see somebody like Chisora, he is. And Dillon's, although they don't like each other as such, not best mates anyway. I would think that they're very similar in the fact that they both just love to fight. So probably will do. But do I think he beats Povetkin? Yeah, he made a mistake. You know, that happens. And the good fighters learn from the mistakes. And I think he does. And so I think he wins the fight.
Brilliant. Is there a chance that you could be involved in the corner of Dillon Whyte again, or is that just kind of one-off?
Just a one-off, I think. I mean, I'm friends with Dillon. I was asked to do a favour, and I did. But I know he's working with Zav but as well they've brought in Harold Knight out in camp. So there's no need for me. Harold Knight with Lennox Lewis. So yeah, he's got a good team with him, and they'll take care of business.
Definitely, we look forward to that. If we can just touch on a couple of other fighters in your stable that wasn't part of the initial matchroom announcements of cards in the opening section of 2021 in Jordan Gill and LaRon Richards. Can we get a little update on where they're up to, and if there's any possibilities of them making an appearance later on in 2021, and what's the fight plans for those two guys?
Yeah, so LaRon would just waiting for Matchroom to announce it, but he's fighting for the European title. That'll be coming up in the next run of fights. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And Jordan will be boxing. I think Eddie announced it on his IFL, so I think I'm all right to say. Jordan will be boxing next week.
All right, okay.
So I'm over the moon for him. Yeah, he's in a very good fight next week. A very good fight.
Right, exciting time. It's good to see Jordan back. He's very exciting. Yeah. And he picked up that good win
Mate, he is a talent. He's had a bad couple of years, and then he bounced back with a Bellotti fight. We didn't have to take such a tough fight. You know, going into that, Eddie and everyone was saying it was a 50-50 fight. You know, or he might get chinned by Bellotti, and this. He went in there and he put on a masterclass, and he boxed brilliant. Unfortunately, because he didn't go out there and bang him out or whatever, then it's kind of like gone quiet, but it was brilliant. And since then, all he's done is work. He's improved so much. What you saw against Bellotti, he's improved so much on. He's a good fighter, mate. He's got so many world-class attributes. Really has. And he's fighting a very good opponent next week that'll test him. Being in with some of the best fighters around at the moment, being in with Donaire, among others. It's a dangerous fight. Good Mexican. It's a very, very similar. It's a similar sort of opponent to Tinoco, but someone who's been who's boxed at a higher level. So actually, a little bit better in my eyes. But I see that Jordan's improved since Tinoco. The things that cost him in Tinoco, I know he was ill, but he still made the wrong choices. He's improved mentally as well as physically since the Tinoco fight, because of the Tinoco fight and because of the illness and everything that he's gone through. It's kind of made him like lose the weight off his shoulders and not worry as much and just enjoy the moment where he's at and just realize what he's good at.
Exciting times. We look forward to Jordan Gill fighting next week. If we could just move away from the matchroom shows and your stable, immediately before this Zoom call today, Dave, there was the announcement that the deal's been agreed for Demetrius Andrade to finally defend his WBO middleweight title against Leigh Williams in April. The deal's been agreed. The fight's been, chased for a little while now. What's your thoughts on Andrade against Williams? Do you think Liam can go out there and do a job?
I hope so. Do you know what? I really like Liam Williams. Only knew him briefly, like off, like everybody does off social media before. And then when I was training Fowler, we went down there a lot to do a lot of rounds with him, sparred a lot with him. And I'll tell you what a nice kid. He's a genuinely nice kid. And you know what? Last year, I said it last year, for me, he's one of the most improved fighters domestically that we've got. He's improved so much. That the setup down there, whatever they're doing in the gym, the Ingle way, the way they train, the people that he's sparring with, it's improved him as a fighter. That setup there has improved him as a fighter. He's thinking a lot more. He can box as well as fight. He was a little bit one-dimensional before. Still a good fighter, but now he can mix it up a little bit. He's strong as an ox. He really is. Andrade is a good boxer. He bores me, but he's a good boxer. He's good at what he does. But I think he thinks he's so much better than what he is. He really thinks he's so much better than what he is. And he will look at Liam Williams and just not rate him because he don't know him. Most Americans will. Most Americans will be like, why is he fighting Liam Williams? But they don't know him. It's a big fight for Liam, and it's a fight he's been waiting for. It's a tough fight for both men, but it's a fight I fancy Liam in that. I do think that he can pull this off. I do think he'll shock Andrade. And I hope so as well. I really hope so.
Excellent, exciting times. Dave, I'm going to put you on the spot for my last question. It's going to be the most difficult question I'm going to ask you in the entire interview we've had here. How many trophies did Manchester United win this season?
I think do you know what? I think we'll finish second in the league. I never expect them to be challenging for the league. So I'm happy. I'm happy to challenge for it. I wouldn't be happy if they just were happy to challenge for it. Now they're in that position when everybody else keeps slipping up, and the position that they're in, they've got to believe they can win it. Them as a set of players, they've got to believe and got to fight for it and really, really go for it and do everything they can to win the league. It's a great opportunity. It is a great opportunity. But if they didn't win it, I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd be a bit gutted, but I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd still be very, very happy and finishing second. I think they finished second. As long as they finish above Liverpool. I think they finished second. I quite fancy him for FA Cup. I do. Oh, one at Cups. I do. I fancy him to win FA Cup. I really do.
Yeah, I think trophy.
But just it's nice to be challenging again and being in that mix after past halfway through the season. It's great, because last 6-7 years has been dog shit. You know, we've been challenging, chasing, trying to get a full spot. You know what I mean? That's bad. That's a big slump. But to think where we were like 13 weeks ago, well, maybe a bit less than that. To think where we were a few weeks ago to where they are now, it's been brilliant. And you know, some of the players have really booked their ideas up and really, you know, really started shining. I know Fernandez gets all the credit and everything like that, but I like Scott McTominay. I think his attitude and he doesn't get the credit because he's not a flash player. But every time I see him go on that pitch, he gives everything. He chases everything down. Even, sometimes it's just even things like that. It's like Martial. I've run out of time for Martial. I just think his attitude when something don't go right for him, he misses. He just shrugs his shoulder and stops. Cavani is about 35 years old. He will chase that ball down. He does so much donkey work up front. It's unreal. I love Cavani over Martial every day of the week, you know. And people like that have kind of like lifted on it. And obviously the Bruno effect you can't deny, you know. But he's the one that gets all the plaudits and everything. Whereas the work ethics of other players, Luke Shaw, look at him, how he's been playing, you know. And I like that because they've come from adversity. Luke Shaw, you can look at the time that he had injury and then Mourinho doing his head in, to think how he's come back from that. It's been brilliant, you know. So I'm happy. I think it's good, and it's frustrating though sometimes, because we either look red hot or we look very, very mediocre, and it's like, just get that consistency. If you can get that consistency, then we could win the league. Definitely,
Dave. It's been excellent to chat to you today. I appreciate your time. I wish you and your fighters the best of luck in the upcoming fights.
Cheers, mate.
And I'm sure we'll catch up again soon. Thank you very much.
Nice one, mate. Thanks. Cheers.